So, given that there might be something big breaking out against Lebanon, I mean, look, this is what one of the most respected military analysts in Israel, Amos Harel of Haaretz, says. Nasrallah, who is obviously the head of Hezbollah, apparently suspects that Israel is headed for a general war and is preparing his organization for that possibility. You think that's right?
Yes. It's the only rational decision.
And then what happens?
We shall have war.
And then?
We shall have war.
And after that?
And we shall have more war. And we shall stop, and later we shall have more war. We have to understand, there are two blind spots for us Israelis. Until today, by the way. What should we learn after the 7th of October? Which was probably the most horrible moment in our history. We should learn, first of all, that we shall not have security as long as we shall not end occupation. This is what Hamas told us. And we shall not have democracy as long as we shall not end the occupation. Now, we refuse to see it. We see it today, if I read the polls, more than we saw it. And this is the opportunity. Our government do not see it. Yoav Gallant do not probably understand it. But he doesn't have the courage to say it because he's base. He has to be elected. So the political power today is not in the hands of the political leaders. The political power is somewhere in the street. And we, people in the street, we do not understand it. And we understand it more and more, and this is why the demonstrations are very, very important. But this is why the international community has a role. Because the international community has to understand, yes, we have to save ourselves from ourselves. But it is not a conflict between Israelis and Palestinians anymore. It is a regional conflict that will create a huge impact on the international community.
Do you think President Biden and the administration and Israel's friends are saving the Israeli political leaders from themselves or not?
I think that they are trying to do their best. The way I understand the American leaders and president, he has to be elected. And he's blamed from both sides. So I'm not here to give him any. I think that he is the only leader who really believes that we can create a different and a better reality. And he's doing all what he can in order to help us to save ourselves.
Can I ask you something? Because I was struck by what you said. This is what Hamas told us. You said the business about ending the occupation, etc. Right. I recently spoke with, I'm sure somebody you know very well, the doctor Yuval Biton, who saved Yahya Sinwar's life in hospital, then became an intelligence officer in the prison service. He claimed that Israel, all of you or all, Mossad, Shin Bet, IDF, government, just didn't listen when people like him, who were talking to Hamas every single day, were saying, this is what they think, this is what they say, this is it. He said, Hamas learned a lot about Israel, but not vice versa. I'm just going to play what he told me on this regard.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the Israeli leadership did not study Hamas, and a lot of people among us, even in the intelligence service, did not know and learn Hamas well enough. All we needed to do was listen to them. Our attitude towards Hamas was arrogant. We dismissed Hamas, and Hamas said everything it intended to do. But we didn't want to listen.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, of course. I don't agree to the fact that all of us, because all the leaders, all the directors of the Shin Bet said it again and again. I met Ronen during 2 years before.
Who's Ronen?
Ronen is the director of the Israeli Shin Bet today. Okay. During the last 2-3 years. And I told him, look, I understand that, politicians and political leaders, they are telling you exactly the policies that you should follow. But you have to tell them again and again and again, every day, every meeting, that this policy will lead us to a wave of violence. And he told me, Ami, this is exactly what I'm telling him. But Prime Minister did not listen. Why? I know why. Because he preferred his political survival on the future of Israel. That's it.
You have said survival requires a political solution and a two-state solution. That, as you said, Hamas will only be defeated by a war, in this war of ideas, which is offering the Palestinians hope. Now, we've heard leaked tapes and things like that. Netanyahu's most nationalistic Orthodox coalition members, people like Smotrich, Ben-Gvir, etc., they, Smotrich, there's a leaked record, he spoke about preventing the occupied West Bank from becoming part of an independent Palestinian state, and he's getting a lot of power and putting more settlers on and empowering the settlers. Is that going to work? Are they going to have the final say?
Probably. If we shall not have the power and the courage to change our policy, they will succeed. Now, Israel, we did not have state for 2,000 years. We were born, all my generation, we were born to a reality in which a state is something obvious. It is not. Unless we fight against everybody who do not believe in Israel as a Jewish democracy, we shall not have Israel as a Jewish democracy. And unless we shall understand...
You're talking about fighting internal Israeli opponents of a Jewish democracy.
Unless we shall understand, again and again I'm saying it, that if we shall not end the occupation, we shall not have security. And if we shall not end this occupation, we shall not have democracy. We shall not have democracy, and we shall not have security. And this is the end of the Zionist dream, because the Zionist dream is a state for Israel with a specific identity. It is a Jewish democracy. Our parents did not come from Arab states and Europe in order to create a totalitarian regime, and nobody will accept it. Palestinians are demanding freedom, and they will fight for the end of occupation. And unless we shall understand that this piece of land is ours, but it is not only ours, we have only two options: to divide it and to keep our identity, or not to divide it and to lose our identity and to lose our security as well.
So does this worry you then? Because this is Netanyahu again in this conversation about moving from the first, second, and now the third stage in Gaza. The third step will be the creation of a new security regime in the Gaza Strip, the removal of Israel's responsibility for day-to-day life there, and the creation of a new security reality for the citizens of Israel. What do you think that means? Do you think that means carving out a whole piece of Gaza? Oh, okay.
This is what it means. For Netanyahu, he is lying to us, because Netanyahu is not stupid. He is the brightest person that I met. But this is toxic leadership. He is telling us something that he knows that will not work. He knows the Palestinians. He knows that they will go on fighting. He knows that they will not accept any Israeli leadership that does not give them their national liberty, end of occupation. He knows it. But he's trying to sell us something that probably, but most Israelis, again, he do not represent the 75% of his people.
Finally, if a war happens between a full scale between Israel and Hezbollah, there are those who are very concerned, like the United States sources apparently, that the Iron Dome, your anti-missile shield, could be overwhelmed in the opening strikes. Do you worry about that?
Yes, of course. There is no ultimate solution. And the capabilities of Nasrallah and Hezbollah is totally different from what we faced in the past. As long as we are fighting in Gaza, he will have the legitimacy to go on fighting. But the moment that we shall achieve the end of war or ceasefire, he do not have the right to go on fighting, because we do not understand. Palestinians are suffering. Thousands of them. Millions probably led from their homes, and the whole south of Lebanon is destroyed. So yes, they will not do anything against him but he represents the Shia community, and they are dying. He represents the Lebanese national aspirations, and they know that he will bring them death and humiliation. So we have to see it connected. And this is why it is so important. It is not only important to bring back our hostages, that this is the moral victory that we want to achieve immediately. It is important to understand that unless we shall end this war in Gaza, we shall not create a better reality in the north.
Ayalon, thank you very much.
Thank you.